Glory to Jesus Christ. You are listening to The Voice of Reason. And we're doing something really interesting, really special, because I'm here with John Krause from Inferno Men, which is the Catholic group that has put on this amazing men's conference in Colorado Springs. And for the first time ever on my channel, I'm going to be interviewed on my own channel by none other than Mr. John Krause. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Alex. How about you?
I am doing excellent. Thank you so much for being here with me to interview me. It's a huge honor.
Well, we weren't sure if you were going to be making it. We had probably 12 to 15 inches of snow here in Colorado Springs over the last 48 hours. And, I know you're coming up from Albuquerque, right, and going south, the road is closed from mile marker 91 down to 0. And we were like, can he even be here? Can he make it? But the Lord made sure that you were here, didn't he?
All things are possible with God. And I'm a terrible driver when the weather is good. When the weather is good, I'm a terrible, terrible driver. So just imagine how bad I am when the weather is really bad. You can ask my producer, Jonathan, he'll tell you. We had quite a few close calls coming up here.
And you were the driver?
And I was the driver. And I don't know why he let me be the driver, but he just let me be the driver. And it was only by the grace of God that we made it here in one piece, unscathed, because if you knew how bad I drive, you would never, in a snowstorm, in a blizzard, the biggest winter storm I've ever seen, you would not let me be behind them.
Did you grow up in New Mexico as well?
I did, yes.
The whole time. So really you don't have a lot of snowstorms.
Not terribly, no.
But a few once in a while.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Does it close down all of Albuquerque when that happens?
No, it doesn't. No. This storm that we drove through yesterday was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. As far as weather, as the most extreme weather that I've ever seen in my life was yesterday.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything that extreme. It was crazy.
We're so glad that you actually made it to us. So I wanted to get some of your reflections on the Inferno Men Conference. Last year we had a little over 900 men here. Because of the weather, that number dropped just a little bit. But, there's a lot of Catholic men here. There's a lot of energy. How did you find the conference?
How did I find the conference now at the end, now that it's all
done? What's your reflections?
Very surreal. Yeah. This is actually my first time, right? This is our first time, being at a conference like this, where I'm one of the speakers and my name is on the poster, and this is the first time thing for me. And I've interviewed people that I've been watching for years, but long before I was ever Voice of Reason, people that I've been watching for years, people like Brian Holdsworth, Chris Stefanik, who I've been following him for over 15 years.
Oh yeah.
I just talked to Jim Wahlberg, and I'm over here talking to these guys, and it's insane.
It's insane.
But it was so nice. It was the energy here. Not only that, it being so surreal that I'm talking to people that I've watched for half my life.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have 800 men out here, and I can't tell you how many of them came up to me today, telling them that out of all the guys that were here, that I was the guy that they were looking forward to the most to seeing, and that they followed me and they follow my content, and it's just the craziest thing. I feel like I'm in the dream. None of this feels real. None of this feels real.
No. Well, you are the voice of reason, right?
You better believe I am.
Earlier, everybody doesn't know this, but we had some problems with the microphone in one of your talks earlier today. And we were worried we weren't going to have that microphone. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he can project. Well, duh. Of course he can project. You had no problem whatsoever reaching everybody. And I saw some of those people come up to you afterwards and start to make some comments to you about what you had to say. 2,000 years of history in 10 minutes. And I felt so bad being the timekeeper that had to put up the 3 minutes, 1 minute, and I was like, man, he's really doing it. I can't believe he's really doing it.
The biggest disappointment that I had this whole weekend was when you put up the 3 minute mark for me that really hurt me. I hope you don't understand that. You really hurt me because I thought I was going to be able to do it, and then you put up the 3 minute mark, and I said, I'm still barely in the 5th century. And 2,000 years, and that really hurt me. But I got a chance to do it again in the next room. I went and they asked me to do it, and I pretty much did it. So I got to right that wrong, I guess. I got to prove it to myself that I could do it.
Well, just so you know, Alex, it wasn't me. It was the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Couldn't help you.
You can't argue with the clock, right?
I can't argue with that. So for some of our listeners, especially on the Inferno Men channels, could you summarize a little bit about what your platform is and what your goal or your mission for your podcast, for your channel is?
All we do is we promote the gospel of Jesus Christ and his church. That's all we do. We do mostly apologetics. What people are really interested in, it seems, the niche that I've carved out for myself is people want to know what is true, what Christian tradition is true. Because you have all of these different churches, you could belong to any church. Why the Catholic Church? Mm-hmm. And when we started doing this, my entire goal was to just let the world know that to follow Jesus Christ and to be obedient to Jesus Christ and to have everything that Jesus Christ wants you to have, that requires you being in his church. Mm-hmm. And his church is 1,000% the Catholic Church. That is the Church of Jesus Christ. So that's my message. That's all that I want. I want people to have all of Jesus, and you cannot have Jesus without his church. So if you want all of everything that Jesus wants you to have, you can only find it in one place. Yeah, the Catholic Church, and that's the message of Voice of Reason.
Well, I mean that's a great message, and you've spoken, I think, at least 3 times today. Mm-hmm. So what would you say is there anything that after all the times that you've spoke, is there any piece of the message that you didn't get to say that you would like to tell the Inferno Men group at this point?
That's a really good question. I feel like there's a million things that I wish that I could tell them, that I could say. I think that, and I talked about this just now with Jim Wahlberg, and with everyone else that I've talked to, with Brian Holdsworth and with everyone, with Chris Stefanik. The thing that keeps coming up for me, the theme for me personally, what I've been telling everyone and what I've been told is that your life is not about you.
Right.
Your life is not about you, and my life isn't about me. Voice of Reason isn't about Alex. Voice of Reason isn't about Jonathan behind the camera. Voice of Reason has nothing to do with us. This is completely an effort that is only successful because me and Jonathan are just 2 guys that we try our best to be obedient to the calling that God has given us. And if this was about us, it wouldn't have lasted 2 weeks. But because we know it's not about us and we know what the focus is, it's been as successful as it is. And that's the message that I told everybody. That's the most important thing, I think, is your life is not about you. You make your life about the Lord Jesus Christ, and everything else falls into place. It's not about your plans. It's not really about your desires. It's not about what you want. It's about what is God calling you to do? What is he calling you to be? And I think I did get that message across today because it just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Right. I can't get my mind off of that. There's really nothing else, really nothing else.
So that begs the question of what's next. What's the future for Alex?
I don't know, and I'm fine not knowing. I don't really. It's not about me. It's not about what is the future for Alex. It's about what is God going to call us to do. He called us to drive in a blizzard, in a winter storm, to be here, and we did it. Next month we're going to California. We're going to be in Los Angeles for I think well over a week.
Wow.
And we're going to be doing important things over there. We will go wherever we're invited. We will go wherever we're invited to go. We see that as okay. God wants us to go here. I kind of take it like the Apostle St. Paul. He would go wherever they would listen to him. He would go.
Yeah.
Where if there's a single soul somewhere in the corner of the earth that would listen to him and listen to the message, he would go to that soul. And that's kind of how we operate. We'll go wherever we're invited, wherever we're wanted. We will go happily, and we'll go to serve and to bring our message.
That reminds me a lot. I spoke a little bit earlier about Matthew Kelly in Dynamic Catholic, and Matthew, when he was younger, I think he started speaking when he was 19, and he's been to just so many countries and has spoken in person to over 1 million people. And you remind me of him in that respect, of what,
That is, well, stop right there, hold on, stop right there. This man just said that I remind him of Matthew Kelly.
In your fervor. In your, obviously your styles are different, but
you know what? Interview is done. We're not going to be able to top that. That's it. We can't top that. That is one of the best compliments I've ever received in my life. My life. I'm always telling people, because they ask me for book recommendations, Matthew Kelly, Rediscover Catholicism, that's the starting point for everyone. Go there, Matthew Kelly. So for you to say that to me, that's...
Oh, that's great. I'm glad I could give you that compliment because, but that he started before the age of podcasts and internet and all that. So he physically had no choice. If he wanted to reach the people, he had to go wherever they were. And so like you said with the Apostle Paul, he went to the ends of the earth, right? And now you're reaching the ends of the earth digitally, which is great. But it's also great to hear that you're not afraid to physically go where God is calling you as well. So I think that's a true testament to your fervor for your ministry. So
thank you so much.
Kudos to that.
Thank you.
You said you had mentioned, interviewed a lot of people today. Obviously, you interviewed all of our major speakers, and now I get to interview you. So, but I'm curious, the doors are closed. I don't know, nobody else gets to hear really what's going on here other than you and Jonathan. And so my question is, what are some of the insights that you got from the people that you interviewed today? Some of the things that you might want to share with the audience.
It's funny you asked that because everything has been so surreal and it feels like a blur. Like I can't even remember. I can't even remember because I've talked to so many amazing people that I've looked up to for half my life that I have to go back and watch the footage to see. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything.
But Jonathan can tell you. He's watched it.
But again, the one thing that keeps coming up, it's almost like they sat in on my talks, which I know they didn't, because they were coming to the same conclusions that I've been saying since last night when I was talking to the college kids with Brian Haldsworth. That again, your life is not about you, and I feel like that was a theme even before we got here because me and Jonathan, we were on the phone the night before we had to drive up here, and the weather was looking nasty. And we were talking, and we were like, "Yo, should we do it? Should we just say sorry? We can't make it. The weather's too bad, and it's dangerous." And Jonathan, he told me, he's like, "You know what? If we go and we I don't know, die or something in the weather, we had a good run, and we did it for the Lord."
Yeah.
And I think that's where it started when we had that phone call the night before. I think that was kind of the seed that got planted in my head of that idea of your life isn't about you. If we die in a winter storm coming up here, hey, well, you know what? Your life isn't about you anyway, so.
Yeah.
And that's very liberating. That's very freeing. And I feel like that is what I took away from my interviews with all of these amazing men that I got to talk to today is I feel like we're all on the same page when it comes to that. And I think that's why they've had the success that they've had and why they're able to do the things that they do, because they realize that their lives are not about them either.
And not only for themselves. The common theme that I heard from so many people today, including one of your talks and a couple of other folks, is it's not just you. Grab a bro and bring them along in this journey that they're doing. And that's really what Inferno Men does, I heard it at the call to action here. They were saying, hey guys, what if we got 2 new guys next year for every one of you that's here right now, and multiplying and so forth. Dan Donaldson of Heroic Men talked a lot about the multiplication. He was breaking down the numbers. Matthew Kelly does that fabulously in Resisting Happiness, in Holy Moments. I love that book. I give out copies everywhere I can. But I think we're all on the same mission: is get the fire in your heart and then take it to a brother and go forward. And by the way, I'm going to mention. We talked this morning about all the different weather that was going on, and there were texts out there that people said, hey, if you want, I will come and find you. I will come and get you. I have a 4Runner. I have a 4-wheel drive, whatever, all these people around town. And I bet if you guys wouldn't have been able to get here on time, we would have sent people down to get you. I mean, that's the kind of folks that we have in Inferno Men, is we would have found some of their route. The interstate's closed. That's okay. We all know the back roads through San Luis, through Alamos, through, that whole area. So that's the fire that we have. So I'm glad that you got to make it, but I also want you to know that we've got your back as well.
I know this. You guys, I am so impressed by what you guys are doing in Inferno Men. The work that you guys do, and you guys are like this well-oiled machine, and you guys take everything so serious, and this is huge. I honestly, when we got here, I was not expecting this to be as big as it was. I thought it was going to be something a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate. I was not expecting to be surrounded by 800 people this morning. I was the first speaker this morning. I was the first one to speak, and it's
a little
incredible.
Intimidating?
I had no idea that it was going to be this big. No idea that the whole hotel was going to be
Yeah.
You know, the whole wing of the hotel is blocked off just for us.
That's their biggest ballroom, and we took over.
That's
you know,
insane.
so the whole thing. So that
So
was
you
really
guys are
good.
doing incredible work.
Well, I want to shift gears just a little bit and ask you about our church, about our Catholic churches. We know it's not perfect in many ways, but, with all of your research, with all of your study that you've done, and the fact that we're still looking at contemporary situations, though, what would you say are some of the pluses and minuses, some of the things that are great about our Catholic Church, and some of the areas that you think we need to work on going into the future?
Well, first of all, I like that you brought up that it's not perfect. Okay? There are 4 marks of the church. And of those 4 marks, not a single one of them is perfect. No one ever said from the very beginning that the Catholic Church was going to be perfect, that Jesus Christ Church would be perfect. 1, yes. Holy, yes. Catholic, yes. Apostolic, yes. Perfect? No.
No.
It's never, see, it's a fool's errand to try and achieve perfection in any institution that has people in it. Because let me tell you something. If the Catholic Church was perfect, and then I joined the church, well, now it's not perfect anymore because now I'm in it. Because
Yeah.
I'm bad. So now
And we all are.
it's no longer perfect.
Right.
So perfection really isn't the goal. Because if that were the goal, if perfection was the goal, then you would have to say that our Lord Jesus Christ was a failure because he picked Judas. He picked the guy that betrayed him. So it's really not about the leaders. It's not about who they are personally. It's not about their own moral failings. It's about, are you faithful? Are you faithful to the leader of the church, who is Jesus Christ, because it's Christ's church, and the Holy Spirit leads it? Are you obedient? And if the answer is yes, you're obedient, that means that you do obey these men, even if these men are very flawed themselves. You obey the leaders of the church. You obey the bishops, the presbyters, the deacons. You obey the Pope. Obedience is everything. Everything. You cannot be holy without being obedient. You just can't do it. As soon as you become disobedient, sorry, you got to turn your holiness card back in. You lost it. So I think that there's always going to be room for improvement in the church. There's always going to be something that the church can do better. There's always going to be something that they could work harder at to improve the experience for the lady. I don't know what it would be. Sometimes, it's interesting because, sometimes I hear Catholics complaining about like the church itself and and they complain so much that I almost wonder, like, do they even know what they want? I feel like for those people that complain so much, like the church could give them everything that they're asking for and they still wouldn't be happy.
No.
I feel like, again, why are you looking at the defects? And why aren't you doing your part? If you do your part, you have nothing else to worry about. You can't control those things.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was just having a conversation in one of the breaks with a young man, and we were talking about some of the wrongs that have been in the church in history and in recent history.
Right.
But one of the things we kept coming back to is it's not perfect. We are all working towards a specific goal, and just because we as humans, to your point, mess up, doesn't mean that Jesus is messed up. He's still capital T, truth.
Right.
And the number one thing for the Catholicism is the Eucharist, and the fact that we have Jesus himself who set up the Eucharist, set up the whole idea of the body and the blood and the bread breaking, and nothing's going to take away from that. Even if we screw up on all of these other things, we can still feel confident that our Catholic faith, that our Catholic Church, that Jesus Christ himself set up, is still the one true faith.
I'll give you an example. When I was coming up, right, when I first started, working as a catechist, what I didn't like was the catechesis. I thought the catechesis was not good. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it. But so what I did is I said, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I went and I, got permission from my pastor. And he said, do it. Yeah, good. You should do it. He said, you should do it. You're right. You should do it.
And weren't you 16 at the time?
Yeah. And he said, yeah, do it. Good. That's how it should be. It should be the lay people that, instead of complaining about the church, fix it. If you see a problem in the church and you think you can fix it, then fix it. And if you can't fix it, well, then just pray Maybe go to somebody that can fix it, but complaining isn't going to do you any good at all.
Yeah.
Fix it. I saw a problem in catechesis just in my local parish, so I fixed it there because that was all I could do. And then that ended up me traveling around to different parishes in my archdiocese and being able to help out in any way that I could there. And now I'm voice of reason.
Right.
When you're faithful in small things, God will, put you in charge of bigger things.
Right, right. And that's exactly at the end of my conversation with this young man. That was the point, is the things he wasn't liking. I came back to him and I said, well, what are you doing about it?
Right.
And he didn't have an answer for that, of course.
There you go.
But so, yeah, it kind of stops them in their tracks. So.
And here's the thing, if you don't know what to do about it, if you don't know how you can fix it yourself directly, you can always pray, you can always fast, and you can always make sacrifice.
Yeah.
If you're not doing those three things, then you have no business complaining. Pray first, fast first, make sacrifice first. Skip meals. If there's something in the church that you don't like, that means that you need to start skipping meals.
I feel convicted now. You just said that because the fact is, we just had 40 Days for Life, for instance. I have a Planned Parenthood office less than 4 blocks from my home.
Wow.
Here in Colorado Springs. And the fact is, there are times when there aren't people filling all the spots for the 40 days.
Right.
And I look out there and I'm thinking, what am I doing?
Right.
Where am I going right now? Do I have time? Should I go park? And I wasn't doing it.
Right.
But I feel convicted. And you know what? At least I should do is prayer and fast. I got the prayer part. I need to work on the fasting. So I'm glad to hear you say that.
Me too. It wouldn't hurt me to skip a few meals, right? I probably.
Hey, you look great.
Thank you for lying. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, that's right. I was going to say we're just audio. No, we're audio and video. They can see.
Video, so you can't lie to the people right now, okay? They can see me.
That's right. Well, I'm kind of done looking at all the different questions that came in from the Inferno groups, from the upper room that have sent me some context. So I think really the main thing I want to do is say thank you for taking the time, risking your lives on the road to come to this Inferno Men conference. As you said, several people came up to you to tell you that you affected them, and I'm sure. There's several more that didn't take the time to come up and tell you that. And
I love all of them. Thank you guys. Every single one of you that watches me.
Exactly.
Again, I just want to thank everybody. Thank you guys. And thank you for your prayers. That's the most important thing.
And 2025, did I not see your face on that
I'm
screen?
Be here.
You'll be
I'm
back?
going to be here again next year, 2025, November 15th. I will be here once again doing the same thing, God willing. And if I have to drive through another storm to do it, I'll do it. We'll do it. I can't wait to come back. I'm so excited. I'm going to start preparing my talk now. As soon as I get home, I'm going to start preparing for next year because I'm just excited.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and coming here, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for the wonderful conversation. And keep up the great work. Inferno Men is an incredible group. You guys deserve all the credit for this because none of this would happen without you guys. The Lord is doing amazing things because of you. Yes. I would not be here without you. So thank you.
Thanks, Lord.
Glory to Jesus Christ now and forever.